Straight into it and have a look at the 3 cards that came up today. Here they are. The Empress, the reverse Knight of Pentacles, and the 3 of Pentacles. In that order they came, 1, 2, 3. Let's take a look at the cards. So the Empress bringing in this, calling in this powerful creativity that we have inside of us, and she is that feminine divinity that holds this creative, nurturing, pregnant, feminine quality to bring life, to create life. And she represents the conscious creative process that we step into at any moment of our lives when we actually choose to be the channel for something greater to come through us into this world. So she represents the consciousness that we are this channel. She represents the awareness that we are simply channeling divine essence, divine guidance, higher will, greater truths than just our own ego truths. She's conscious of being this conduit. She's conscious of embodying in the world what we need to embody in order to place on this earth and do and act out on this earth what would be the higher will. She has this scepter that she holds up, this golden scepter, and this crown of star-like influences above her head, and this abundance of manifestation. And so she looks at the world as and sees that everything that she sees is her creation. This isn't an egotistical I did it all. This is I am the co-creative force that's embodying every ounce of spirit and making it into physical reality and doing things, allowing things to be, nurturing things, embracing life as it is, embracing the world as it is. She is the epitome of not just loving life, but that loving coming out in appreciation, coming out in gratitude, and coming out in this passive allowing. She is the Empress that allows life to be. She doesn't try to do so much, and that's why her essence is very feminine, allowing life to be inside of her. She doesn't judge things in very dualistic terms, saying this is right, wrong, this is good or bad. She just embraces every aspect of life and sees the beauty in it. This is a crazy gift that we can find inside of our consciousness, to be able to recognize the beauty in everything that's taking place. And it's very easy to forget how beautiful life is and how beautiful we are, because we definitely need to be included in that vision of beauty and that vision of seeing love everywhere. It's very hippie, peace and love type perspective of life, but it is really the divine feminine who holds space with this awareness that of the perfection that creation is. And when I say the awareness of the perfection of creation, it's just seeing, oh, there is a purpose, there is meaning, there is power, there is strength, there is wisdom inside of everything, even the dodgy things in this world. And her perspective is one that recognizes continuously, constantly, the beauty and the perfection in everything that is. Her desires are pure, so she is that part of us that remembers love in every moment, remembers compassion for the world in every moment. She has this sign of Venus, which in Venus is a very vast and strong energy of diversity. And so there's a diversity in this world where we see the multitude of things manifest in so many different forms. And each one of those forms can be an excuse for judgment, an excuse to create more division, an excuse to see something as better, worse, higher, lower, good or bad. But the Empress is that consciousness of that everything is always perfect. And so this reverse night comes up to speak about that attitude that we have that forgets this sometimes. And this is the night of the material world, and this is that more adolescent part of us that gets carried away with how things look, gets carried away with the more darker side of how things are manifest in the world. And this is that part of us that might be addicted to see what is lacking inside of ourselves on one level, but also inside of the world. It's that part of us that's very fixed and shares the idea regularly, like, oh my gosh, look at what's gone wrong in the world. Look at what isn't great in the world. Look at all of these issues and these problems. And it's not wrong to recognize them. It's not wrong even to share what is wrong and to be able to see different ways that the world appears to be imbalanced, appears to be not right, not good enough, not as it should be. It's not wrong to have these judgments, but this night is kind of stubborn and stuck in seeing that darker aspect of how the world reflects lack. And that will be lack in ourselves. It'll be the way we judge our physical bodies. It'll be the way we judge our capability to manifest things, because it's very much relating to this Empress manifestation, who is being blocked a little bit by this more adolescent stubbornness that we have to look and say, hey, this isn't good enough, this isn't right, I don't like this inside of me, this is wrong. And there's a lot of common body shaming stories in this darker, more shadow version of the night. And he will also shame his own lack of wealth, lack of ability to manifest and do things. But this just creates more apathy and more procrastination. And he has this strong negative judgment of all of those things, which may on one way or another feel justified, because, hey, procrastination isn't good. Hey, apathy and laziness isn't good. But the strong judgments about these aspects of ourselves will often cause us to spiral into a darker space, a darker mental space, which becomes more and more difficult to get out of. So, in a way, there is a certain amount of discernment, recognizing our own limitations, recognizing our own weaknesses, and what is difficult for us and what is challenging in this world. If we're challenged and to make a great living, or if we're challenged to get up and motivate ourselves into doing actions that we know are positive for us. So then the message of the Empress comes back in and says, hey, we need to see how even our apathy has a certain perfect message for us. How even our procrastination, how even the way we might, physically be unhealthy or physically be not beautiful enough or perfect enough in whatever way, we need to see how physically we are perfect. We are a perfect reflection of the consciousness that we hold inside of ourselves. And unless we can really embody that mindset or claim that mindset of acceptance and allowing ourselves to be imperfect, allowing ourselves to be unhealthy sometimes, allowing ourselves to maybe not be able to manifest in the exact way we would ideally be manifesting, making an abundance of money, which she has no issues with whatsoever. Unless we embody her feminine allowing, we won't be able to be sending the right message out there to the world, because this knight wants to be turned over. He wants to be projecting positive attitudes towards what he is doing, what he's working on, and how he relates to his body. He can have this great, amazing persistence and endurance and ability to stand up and really look after the world around him, look after his own body. But the negative self-talk is so strong that he's finding it's difficult for us sometimes to look after our physical body. I know this requires discipline, but the discipline that we're talking about here is the discipline of our mind, where we have to be conscious of how we are not loving ourselves and how we are not accepting who we are, and then call in what would be a divine vision of who we are, that's saying, hey, yes, you're lacking things on, let's say, a little bit on this front and a little bit on that front, but it's okay. You are still perfect, even with all of the ways you might judge yourself. You're still perfect in every single way. Now, does this mean that we don't need to get out and go and exercise and go and force ourselves to do healthy things? No, it doesn't. It doesn't need to be an excuse to sit back and do nothing. The acceptance has to be the starting point from when we actually consciously choose to act and do things which are healthy for us. Because this knight has a bit of a health story, and he doesn't always choose the most healthy options because of his negative mindset and because he doesn't accept who he is on many levels. And we need to definitely make more healthy choices. Definitely we need to make more conscious actions that might even go against our habits. And this is what this knight has the biggest issues with. He'll get into habitual routines of negativity, and we need to find the motivation to break those habits and change them and start new ones. We need to maybe find a collaboration between several other people, and a collaboration to make something more beautiful, to create this inner temple that is being built by these three people. We need to find maybe a little bit of support outside of us, but positive support that can motivate us into the right type of actions that we need in order to not just create the healthy lifestyle for our physical body, but also to really direct our work and direct our efforts towards something that is going to be fruitful for us financially, fruitful for us energetically in this world, and bring into our lives and attract into our lives that which we genuinely want. This collaboration story is an interesting dynamic because it's an inner collaboration. So it's collaborating with ourselves, with our higher mind, just like the Empress is collaborating with the guidance coming from these 12 astrological symbols above her head, as she is, embodying, really feeling the influence of the universe over her actions, the universe over what she chooses to be in the moment. She's not the doer. The Empress is not about doing. She is all about being in the right mindset. Being in the right mindset, being conscious of holding on to that right mindset, and allowing ourselves to see the perfection in ourselves, allow ourselves to choose to shift through certain old patterns and old routines and bad habits, because we've all got them, and make a little bit of a conscious effort to do something different. And this, it is a lot easier to do when other people are involved, when we are working in collaboration. I know I'm like this totally, when I've got to find all the creative, when I have it in my head, all right, how can I do this and how can I do that? When I'm sitting on my own trying to figure things out, I get disheartened sometimes, and I'll get bored, and I'll sometimes, because there'll be aspects of what I'm asking myself to do that are not my strengths, that are not my area of expertise. And I strive for collaboration, and I'd love to have somebody come in sometimes and go, okay, let's bounce ideas off each other, so that, and that's all it would need in order to really lift up, find a greater motivation sometimes, and really spark a creative process which allows you to start off in a place of acceptance and grow into a more conscious manifestation of beauty, self-love, and abundance. Sounds like a decent message anyway. I hope you enjoy this full moon message. I hope this has, I hope it triggers you in some way and touches you in other ways, and I hope it gets you out and motivates you to change some of the negative habits that this guy sometimes manifests inside of us, that we have probably been procrastinating over for way too long, and move into some more beautiful collaborations. These more beautiful collaborations, may they be primarily with the divine, and may we learn to sit in this embodiment of self-love and create a little bit of manifestational abundance. Have a great day, week, year, month, whatever, and I'll see you on the new moon.